Hi, I'm Allison Trimble with Willfully Guided Horsemanship. I feel like my job as a horse trainer is to help people that are trying to train their own horses kind of understand what parts of what they're trying to do are the most important. I try to bring my clients' attention to the things that I think that they really need to understand about making things make sense to their horse. So one of the things I see that's the most common, and I see it a lot in people trying to get their horses in frame for reining maneuvers or working on certain things, is that we get so conditioned to thinking about where we end our horses and that's what our horse is going to remember, and our release point is where, we're going to make our horse understand what we were wanting from him. And that is very true. So if I'm teaching my horse that I want her to give her head and I take a hold of her, the place I'm going to release is when she gives me her head. And that's very correct. But down the road in your training, what ends up happening is people work really hard. They work really hard on getting their horse's head set, and they bump around and drive with their legs and finally get their horse to set their head and start feeling like that where they ended there was where they really needed their horse to be. And what I think they forget is that the point of contact, the time when you first take a hold of your horse, from when they're completely natural to when you take a hold of them, is the most important part that you're training to on your horse. This initial response, when I first take the slack out of my reins, that contact point is what I'm training to. I know for sure that if I can take my horse and take a hold of her and get her face, from completely free to making contact as soft, I know I can maintain that loping around in a circle. I know that when I take a hold of my horse and steer her, if it's soft in that moment, it will be soft at all times. So what I'm trying to do is get my clients to really focus on, even though they've had to train, work on getting their horse to understand something, that they always need to bring it back and see if it's there in its very most natural place. I think that is something that it's just about changing your perception about how you're training your horse. I know that my horse is understanding what I'm saying if when I first ask for it, I get that response. So what I'm encouraging you to do is when you're taking a hold of your horse, when you're loping circles, I want you to just tighten your focus onto what happens when you take a hold of your horse the first time, when you lay your leg into your horse the first time, not what happens down the road or that you're able to eventually achieve it. Because you've got to remember, you're going to have about 2.5 minutes in a reining pattern and maybe 90 seconds in a cow horse class down the fence to be able to handle your horse, and they need to be there and respond to you quickly and in that moment. So if you have any questions or you'd like to know a little bit more about our program, visit willfullyguided.com. And remember, enjoy your horses.